I've come up with a new move. I call it the Hey Jay Invasion Sensation, or the Bum Rush. Oh, we're putting it where it counts. What a finish. Hey Jay Hunts. Bum rushes aside, this week was a week full of emotions on this stream. But before that, if this is your first Monster Hunter Journal with me, be sure to, if you enjoy these sorts of stories of a noob going through Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter for the first time, be sure to subscribe and like the video. So let's talk about what happened this week. It was a tough week. I met my first loss. I hit my first wall. The Diablos. But before we get to that, let's talk about all the other good stuff. So going in, I got a few new mechanics. I was introduced at the research base to this cat safari, which is kind of cool. And you know what? I'm just remembering now, I sent 4 cats or 3 cats out on a mission and I completely forgot about them. I did not check in on them during the whole entire stream. So the next time we go in, you guys gotta remind me, check up on my cats. I wonder how they're doing. We changed a few things. So we unanimously decided 60% to 40%. Maybe not unanimously, last week, that the handler is not cringy. The handler is not cringy. I am more cringe than the handler. And to prove it, we changed the handler cringe counter to the Hey Jay cringe counter. And it's already higher than the handler cringe counter. So my point stands proven. We did a few, before we get into the hunts, actually, we're going to get into the hunts very quick. But I did try to do some non-hunting quests. So I finally did my first egg quest. After quite a bit of debate between if I should or I shouldn't, this time I was like, you know, sometimes you just got to play the game like you want and you got to ignore the chat. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this egg quest. And I picked one. Turns out it was like a herbivore egg quest, which is apparently not as exciting as maybe a wyvern egg quest. Still, there was quite a bit of hype around chugging this egg across the field as I had 3, eventually 5 angry herbivores chasing me because they didn't like that I was taking its egg. Few things there. I got lucky, I think, on the first one. Did not drop, did not get hit. It got close. I had 5 of these herbivores like right up on my back and I'm like climbing and trying to like haul this egg, and I actually did it. The second time I dropped it once, but then we got it again. So I'm a pretty natural egg carrier. Now the weird thing about eggs is you walk so slow with an egg, and I don't get it. Like, you're hauling these massive weapons on your back and you're just running and drinking potions and Superman diving. But when it comes to carrying an egg, that's the hunter's weakness. They can't hustle with an egg in their hands no matter how not heavy it is. All right, then we'll talk about, so I basically went through 4 monsters this past week, which were all very formidable foes, starting with, and I'll probably pronounce this wrong, we've learned I can't pronounce monster names properly. In fact, this next one, the Legiana, I don't even know if that's right, but it sounds a lot better than the first name I came up with, which was the Legina, which, don't go repeating that in the schoolyard, kids. So first up was the Legiana, then we had the you see why I have a notepad with me? Because I can't read these things. Audagaron, we'll call him Clifford. Then we went to Diablos, and then we wrapped up the stream nicely with a good old visit to Rathalos. Before we get into this, I just want to address one thing. A lot of people have complimented me, thank you, about my ability to dodge in this game, which it's been said so many times that I've started reflecting on why am I good at this? A lot of people are saying time and time again after every stream, they've noticed I am very good at dodging at the last minute. And it's not because I have some superpower that I actually know what the monster is going to do. So I've actually reflected on this, and I think it comes down to 3 things outside of my amazing skill. No, I'm kidding. So the first is, of course, the monster's project. There's an animation that indicates when they're about to do an attack. And yes, that's one indicator that kind of triggers my dodge rolls out of the way. The other 2, after putting some thought, I noticed, I think subconsciously, I'm picking up on specific sounds that the monsters make. And I cannot tell you which sounds they are, but I do know at one point, my subconscious eventually associates a certain sound to pain, and I think my reflex just kicks in and dodges whenever I hear that sound. And that happens without me even being aware of it. That's theory number 2. Theory number 3, I think, is the most interesting one, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. So I think inherently in every battle in Monster Hunter, there's a certain amount of timing. And a lot of you have described this as a dance. Whenever you hunt, you're essentially dancing with the monster in a pattern. And I've noticed, upon reflection, that I know that after maybe 3 to 5 second window, no matter what is happening in the fight, I know that monster is going to attack me, and I will preemptively dodge, which often probably results in me dodging out of the way on time. And that, I think, comes from the fact that I've just been playing these games for my entire life, that within every game, there is this inherent timing. And so I know that on any monster I fight, I can usually get 2 to 3 hits, and even if I don't see the monster on camera, I know I just got to dodge out of the way because there's probably an attack coming just based on the rhythm of that fight. So those are my my theories on why I'm subconsciously dodging. One is noticing the animation, but sometimes the camera isn't always on the monster and I still dodge. The second is the sound, and the third is just that timing where you just get into that rhythm of slash, jump out of the way, especially if they're not on the ground. So anyway, enough about me. Let's get into this Legiana, which is basically the ice version of Rathalos, in my opinion. So this one was not as intimidating. I kind of went in a little bit scared of the ice, but since we dealt with a Rathian last week, this one I was just like, all right, it's a Rathian that flies with ice. I got iced a lot more than what chat bet on. I think the bet was, will Jay get iced more than 3 times? Most people said yes. I voted yes as well, and I got iced like 4 to 5 times. That ice hurts a lot. So I learned that the ice basically, I think it drains your stamina if I remember correctly. If I recall, how did I heal from that? I don't remember how I healed, but I was pretty good at healing. Eventually in the fight, we got the Tsutsiki monster that came in, and they started messing stuff up, and I was like, get out of here, Tsutsi. We don't need you unless you want to like flash this thing brand down for me so I can hack it. And of course, this is where I pulled off my signature new move, the Hey Jay Invasion Sensation. Now, after doing it this time so perfectly, it has become my mission in Monster Hunter to finish off all new monsters with the Hey Jay Invasion Sensation. I have to come up with a catchier name, but I kind of like that for now. But I was not successful. I've only done it once. Otherwise, I learned that the flash pods are very important for flying monsters. I was not executing it very well on this monster, but I need to start farming some of those flash bugs because very useful, as I learned later on in Rathalos. Next up, Clifford. Man, a lot of you on YouTube and in Discord and everywhere have been pretty much saying this would be my wall, this big red lizard, and I was genuinely afraid because of so much buildup over the weeks of you guys just saying I will die, and they're like, I can't wait till he meets Clifford. Clifford's gonna destroy him. He will bleed. I did bleed. I was surprised to see it was a big lizard. I really thought it was gonna be a puppy. I don't know why. I thought it was gonna be a little bit hairier since you guys referred to it as a big red puppy. This thing was fast. Like, oh my god, I think my voice actually like squeaked at one point at how fast it was, just like in sheer terror of it. It has the whole I don't know what makes you bleed, if it's the claws or the mouth, but either way, bleeding sucks. I did not learn how to heal it, but I do know, like I learned later on that you can use the jerky to heal, but I didn't know that in the fight. Oh, that's another thing. So during the fight, there was an adamant amount of requests to basically mute the chat so that they couldn't influence my fight with Clifford. So we went to emote only mode so nobody could give me tips. And I went into this fight blind, and what a rush this one was. It was intense. It was fast. I bled, and then I learned the technique of hiding in the bush. I never did that before, but hiding in the bush saved me so much. And then come out of the bush to attack the monster really helped me out. This was a really fun fight to challenge my skills where I was at. It was pretty much based, like the requirements of this fight are all about dodging and attacking. It's not like the other fights where you have to bring secondary items like a flash pod, for example, to really help you with your fight. We got the tail off pretty quick on this thing. And the most surprising thing for me is I did not cart once on this fight. So that was like a massive amount of hype for me where I'm just like, what wall? This thing was nothing. And I came very close to dying. I think at one point I got less to I had less than 5 HP, in which the chat was cheering because they wanted me to die. It's crazy chat. But yeah, I beat the Otogaron, and it was fun, and I didn't die. So there, suck it, chat. Now, the other, talking about the armor, the Legiana armor was kind of cool, but it's not something I like want necessarily. The Tsitsi is still my favorite armor, by the way. The Otogaron armor, everybody was like, look at it, you're gonna love it. It's an evil ninja armor, and I don't like evil things, so I'm like, I don't really like it. I know a lot of you out there love it. They're like, that's the point, you're supposed to look like a badass, but I don't like it. So after that, we tracked down one of the Elder, or the first Wyverian, and they're like, all right, it's time, you little nooblet. You gotta rise to the top, and you gotta fight some wyverns and kill the kings of these kingdoms. And so we were given the quest of to take on Rathalos or to take on Diablos, and we put it up to the chat to vote. And the chat said, let's go and take on Diablos. So I was like, all right, let's see what this Diablos is all about. Again, Diablos is another name that has come up in my comments a lot, so I was looking forward to seeing what the big deal was. And Diablos has given me so many new emotions in this game. I didn't just lose to Diablos. I got destroyed by Diablos. I have never been so utterly destroyed by a monster in this game the way Diablo destroyed me. Like, maybe the first time I met Anjanath and I poked him for fun and I knew I wasn't like trained in the game and he destroyed me, we all laughed it off. But here I had a lot of victories under my belt. My pride was riding high from Clifford, and Diablo just went, sit down, son. And he just horned me up, tossed me around, to the point where whenever I saw his face in the game, I felt terror, because I knew that if you saw the face, you were probably a second away from losing half your health. This thing hits hard, and I understand the pattern, he's slow, but I still don't know how to attack him. So he's got the big horns on his face. If you're seeing those, he's going to charge at you, or he's going to swing twice at you with a huge range that takes out pretty much your entire life in 1 or 2 hits. If you try to attack from behind, he's got the big hammer tail that just swings and keeps you away. And then if you try to go in from the side, he side hustles and crushes you that way. So approaching him is very high risk from every direction. I tried to jump from cliffs on him, but those opportunities are rare and far between. I tried to like get him to kind of do the bull rush into the cliff sides. I did that a few times, but half the time I got hit. So I'm just like, ugh, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. The pride is broken. Everything hurts. I'm sad. I am scared of Diablos. And so I was about to like end the stream there. I was absolutely defeated. It really hurt me in a place I didn't even know I had. But we got a little bit of like energy back, and we're like, no, one more fight. And I'm like, all right, we got to visit Rathalos. And everyone is like, well, Rathalos is harder. I was like, I don't know. I've seen Rathalos before. You know, I've seen him. I fought the Rathian. How much harder can the king be? And so we went in, and I knew I had the fireproof armor. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. We're fighting Rathalos. And oh man, was Rathalos. Rathalos was fun. Rathalos was Anjanath on steroids. It's basically the fight of Anjanath, but more intense, faster, and it's in the air. So I had a lot more success dodging Rathalos. He hits less hard than Diablos. And eventually I learned the art of flash pods to the point where I could actually do it a lot better, where I'm like, flash pod, like ninja pod on the ground and bring the Rathalos down. And then we hacked him, and then the tail flew off. I was like, yes, we're doing some progress. And it was intense. Like, we were going toe to toe, I feel. I think he caused me one feint, if I remember correctly. And it was just kind of like this back and forth of like, oh no, I'm poisoned. Oh no, I'm out of flash pods. Get some bugs. But it felt like we were going toe to toe, versus Diablos was just like, get out of my way. And then of course we slayed it. We slayed the Rathalos right at midnight, right at the end of the stream. Got my pride back, still though with a lot of cracks in it. It felt good. We went and got the armor set. Actually, I went and looked at the armor set. I could only afford one piece of armor, I think. So I went with the thigh flaps, for the lack of a better name. And it matches really well with the Anginous armor. So now I've got kind of like this souped up armor. It was an emotional stream. And, you know, looking now to the next stream, Diablos, we need to have a rematch. And that's why this weekend, tomorrow, Sunday, from 10 a.m. Eastern Time to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, we're going to go train. We're going to go train hard. We're going to get some armor, craft some new weapons, do some research on this Diablos, because I have a date with Diablos this Thursday, and we need to dish out some payback. This thing scares me, but I will not stop here. I will not be walled by a Diablos. I'm going to suit up, and we're going to fight this thing and kill it so I can progress my Monster Hunter journey. So if you want to join me, we're going to be doing about 2 hours of multiplayer tomorrow out of the 4-hour block. The first 2 hour, I'm going to do optional quests and just kind of gather some knowledge on the Diablos and get ready on my own. And then I'm gonna invite the multiplayer group to do some grinding with me. Keep in mind, it's still a challenge to do multiplayer with so many viewers. I can usually do about 3 hunters every 15 minutes. So that only lets us do about 12 players an hour. And since we're doing 2 hours, that's about 24 players. So keep that in mind. If you do want to participate, you probably have to come in early and queue up early. I wish I could do more, but these are the limits of the game. Diablos, I'll see you next week. And until next time, keep it classy.